Hello, Timo, rather. Malinin. There's a new name. Luca Craig, a bunch of others. Michael Frank, happy 600. Thank you, Michael. Pedro Foiling Sailor saying happy 600th. Julia's with us. I'm happy to report. John Emmett checking in from Italia. Alan Long and a bunch of others already as we have a new countdown. Look at this, Julia. Hi, everybody, and welcome to show number 600, which, like age, it's just a number, right? We didn't really plan anything special, did we, Julia, for this one?
No, we thought about it.
But it's just another day, another show. There's a lot going on.
Right.
Happy to get to 600 in one piece. 2 shows a week, 50 weeks a year. That's call that 100 shows a year, give or take.
Yeah.
And we started this in June of 2017, so 6 years ago. Just about adds up.
Yeah.
We are live from the Beach Street Yacht Club as usual. It is a rainy, windy. We got 40, 50 knots of breeze here as one of these hopefully last winter storms goes through here in San Francisco. Welcome to the show, everybody. Thank you for joining us on today, the 14th of March. That video you just saw is from my home club at Portage Yacht Club. And they count down the collegiate starting system, we call it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 3 beeps at 30, 2 at 21, at 10, and away they go. That video courtesy of Rick Lyons from the 47th annual No Sweat Regatta, which has been going on at our lake, Portage Yacht Club in Michigan, well, for almost 50 years now. Thanks, Rick, for sending that video along. And those of you who were looking at the race committee boat up close, the guy with his back to us is our Fozy, Super Fozy, Clark Chapin, who's been helping us with this show since the get-go, Julia.
Yes.
Isn't that a nice shot of Clark? His back. And his,
oh, I recognize him right away.
He's a great race officer. He runs a lot of races at our club, plus racing himself. And thank you to Rick and Clark for that video. And we want to, speaking of thank you all of you for putting up with us, for supporting us for all these years now, 6 years.
Yeah.
And or almost 6 years, 600 shows, without the patrons, without the Fozy, without all. We do it for you, without the comments, the contributions. And?
Yeah, and with you.
Well, exactly. With you, for you. And thank you all very much to get us to 600. I don't know if we'll do another 100 of these, another 600 of these. We'll play it by ear, won't we?
600 is a very good number because it means that you're doing very successfally.
Well, I don't know if it means that. It means we could be dead, too. That's another 6 years. I don't know, Julia. I'm just happy to get through this year, and thanks again to everybody. Thanks also to Katie and Ratty, who were our guests on Friday. That was a super segment.
Absolutely.
Weren't they fun?
Absolutely.
And I'm just going to reprise a few of the slides. So many of you wrote in during and after the show. It was one of our most commented shows, and we were talking about, of course, David Blanchfield, Ratty, who was racing aboard Moneypenny in the Sydney Hobart in December, and he was washed from the bottom of the mast. He described that in some detail.
Maybe too much.
Maybe. You think too much?
No.
Do you think I put the slides in from his injury?
Yeah.
I did. Look at these. were gruesome, but you got to show what he's going through, and that's a recent one. That slide was at the dock when they got back after finishing in Hobart, and then this just recently after the stitches were taken out, and he's doing fine. I've known Ratty for a long time. This is when he was a bowman obviously on Prada during the Cup and the IACC days. We did a couple campaigns together. Likewise, Katie, I've known for a long time, at least since '95 when she was on Bill Koch's all women's team in the '95 Cup. There she is on Mighty Mary.
With her hand on the hip.
She's the one with her hand on her left hip there, and a terrific sailor, Michigander. She grew up in Port Huron, not that we knew each other in Michigan.
Can't be all bad.
She is a terrific gal, lawyer, very smart, working up in Sacramento, member of St. Francis Yacht Club, has done 2 round-the-world races, what we now call the Ocean Race. She's a tough gal, but a super bright, nice, cool chick, and I just love her to death, and it was great to have her on the show. She and Ratty especially knew the late, great
Sid Fisher.
Sid Fisher, thank you, Julia, as did you, and Sid was we did a bit of a tribute to Sid, and Sid helped launch the careers of Ian Murray and Jimmy Spithill, just to name 2, and countless others, particularly Australians. There's a shot of Jimmy from the 2000 America's Cup with Sid's young Australia. We talked about that, reminisced, and Ratty telling stories about Sid and sailing on the various ragamuffins, including Ragamuffin 100. The sayings Sid practiced in everyday business and life were legendary. My favorites learned from him during the 86-87 Steak and Kidney America's Cup days. Ratty told this story. This is actually a quote from Di Pearson. But they continue to hold me in good stead today. Trust is good, checking is better, and delegation is not abdication. We said that sounded like Ronald Reagan, right?
Yeah.
Trust but verify.
Right.
He was dealing with the old Soviet Union and nuclear weapons. So that was fun recollection, remembrance.
Steak
And
and Kidney has a great tradition too.
Well, you know what it is. It's
Yeah.
Cockney rhyming slang.
Yeah.
So that was how that boat got. That was over in Perth in 86, 87. And you notice these RS 600s. These are like the Contender, the single-handed trapeze boat, the Contender, which was many, many years before. I don't know if they're still making the 600. I love this shot. Grabbed it for no other, and I like the RS Boat Company. I've had them on the show a couple, 3 times, some of their senior people. And for no other reason than it's a 600.
Which is good enough.
Don't you think it's good enough?
Absolutely.
So nice shot, and thanks to all of you for joining us. And you've all figured this out if you're watching this live. We are now an hour earlier for most of you in the world, at least for a few weeks. We're about to be 2 hours different from down under when you go off daylight time. We're on daylight time. We will always stay year-round at 1300 Pacific, whether it's daylight or standard. Hopefully they'll stop moving the clock. Now, we talked about snow, and this came in from Graham Sweeney, so it's back to the good old days. They lost power on their day 7 of being snowed in up there in Yell, Scotland. And then on Saturday or Sunday, the power returned. He's happy to be able to watch the show today. Sent me a couple notes today. So that is Graham Sweeney up in Scotland after being snowed in, and then the power outage.
Oh, yes.
Power outage. So that's from Graham. And this came in also apropos of events over the weekend. That, of course, Julia, one of your favorite, Fozy.
Indeed.
You like all those British boys.
Oh,
you like Emmett and Pindar and
we're
Mr. Dr. Andrew McIrvin. But this is from Pindar, who's in France. He's got a ski home there in France. It doesn't look like much snow.
No.
Speaking of snow, but he's obviously with a statue of his good buddy Napoleon Bonaparte. And he sent this and he said, yeah, we stuffed the French at Waterloo, now Belgium, in 1815, we the Brits, with a little help from the Prussians. On Saturday afternoon, this past Saturday afternoon, 223 years later, the French took great revenge by stuffing the English rugby team at Fortress Twickenham. And that's what happened there. There are lots of news articles. I'm not a big rugby follower. I mean, I've followed it a little bit when we lived in Australia and New Zealand. But on Saturday, according to The Guardian and many other news reports, it's 20 years since England became the first and still only Northern Hemisphere side team to win a World Cup, Rugby World Cup, and some blunt home truths can no longer be avoided. If their record defeat, that is on Saturday, in 113 years of hosting tests at Twickenham, symbolized anything, they were playing the French, obviously, it was exactly how far English rugby has now fallen and how much it is going to take to restore the national team to former glories.
Aha.
So, you know, that World Cup's only been won by the South Africans, the Kiwis, and the Aussies, never anybody in the Northern Hemisphere. So that was news from Andrew Pindar over the weekend, and he sent this along as well, which you got to admit is very clever indeed. If not, I don't think it's really, well, it might be a little foul. Thank you, Andrew. Much appreciated for what's been going on since our Friday show. Julia?
Sir?
What day is today? What day is today?
I even saw it.
This is your first and only hint.
Berry Envy.
Berry Envy pie, a 6-inch pie for $3.14.
Very strong.
That's a strange amount, don't you think? $3.14. Well, what is today's date in American notation? Today is 3/14, March 14th, which is Pi Day. Worldwide, they celebrate mathematics and pi. It's International Pi Day, March 14th, because it's 3.14. I used to have this memorized out to 30 places. 3.1415925699. 979, I don't know, whatever it was.
I'm impressed.
Well, it didn't get me anything except, yeah, their Stingrays got it, except the admiration of a couple math teachers, but I don't think it helped anything. Yeah, everybody's got it. Pi Day, Pi Day. Look at all the eggheads on here. Fritz Mueller, James Bland, National. It's International World Pi Day, Joe, actually. Fritz Mueller also commenting that Ireland leading Six Nations Cup standing, he thinks. So that's interesting. Clark, see that, Julia? Clark is saying maybe GBR Rugby is going to reorganize now. Do they have a non-rugby CEO?
We have one, yeah.
Clark,
Yeah,
it's International Pi Day, and we have the video to prove it.
Sure, we all love traditional holidays like Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's, but for math geeks around the world, their special day comes on March 14th, Pi Day. Here's a geometry refresher. Pi is the mathematical constant that represents the ratio of a circle's circumference to its diameter. It's an infinite number, but it starts with 3.14. So on the third month of each year, the 14th day is Pi Day. The San Francisco Exploratorium claims it celebrated the first Pi Day in 1988. It was the idea of physicist Larry Shaw, affectionately known as the Prince of Pi. In 2009, the US Congress officially recognized March 14th as Pi Day. From those humble origins, the day has grown to be celebrated around the world in many different ways. Many people enjoy a slice of pie on the holiday. Others try to memorize the digits of pi. Teachers use the day to explain the geometric concept to students. Many businesses, especially pizzerias and bakeries, offer up special Pi Day recipes. The most exciting moment in Pi Day history was in 2015, on 3/14/15 at 9:26 and 53 seconds. This exact time represented the first 10 digits of pi.
Aha.
So whether you enjoy apple pie or calculating pi, grab your friends and join the celebration on March 14th.
Yeah, that was a really exciting day, whatever day that was when pi got spelled out and timed out.
Yeah.
Maybe we have a pizza pie tonight for dinner in honor of Pi Day.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, sorry, I didn't have my hearing aid. I just had the volume a little low on that video. At the start, we thank you, John, for the hint, and let's carry on. Speaking of John, we have John Emmett in the coach's corner with his report today. As you know, he is in Italy at the 2023 ILCA Senior European Championships, both the ILCA 6 and the ILCA 7. John's not doing particularly well, but he says he needs to get off the starting line better. He's down in, I think, the 30s somewhere out of a big fleet. Lots of boats there. In Andorra, not the country, not the principality, but Andorra, the beautiful town on the Italian Riviera between Nice and Genoa. John said he flew into Nice. You go through San Remo, where Yacht Club Italiano has their nice club. And here's John's
Tom, Julia,
report.
and all the folks. It's time for a walk and a talk. Now, I was going to try and do this at the boat park, but by the time I get my camera, normally everyone's got their covers on and has disappeared, so it doesn't actually look that exciting. And there's always the course of being run over if I walk along the streets or by beach, and I don't particularly want to walk into somebody. So hopefully this will be interesting enough. The thing with the walking and the talking, I just think to get away, it really helps focus, especially if you're in a team environment, just to go for a little walk and a talk one-to-one with your coach or something. Highly, highly recommended. But I will try and do a boat park walk at some point, but it is difficult. Long days. In fact, by the time I get home, it's often nearly dark here, and it's been a good time of reflection for my goals to see the difference between, for example, a European event and a Masters event. I think the one thing I personally need to do very much is work on starting, which is why I encourage people to do lots of regattas. In fact, I was trying to think the last time I did a senior regatta, and that's a very long time ago. But yeah, this is my accommodation because I think if I walk anywhere else, it will probably be dark by the time I finish the video. And hopefully the audio and the image and everything is good enough this time. We've had a few little blips recently, because what I wanted to talk to you today was about being comfortable. Now, you've probably heard of this expression of being comfortably numb. And it's a point that we can have in many things in life where we're not actually going to seek change. And I said before that actually the comfort zone is the biggest barrier to performance, and that's why it's good to push yourself. And ultimately, with the Romanian contract stopping, it was Lily who encouraged me to come here to Europeans and actually to be pushed, well, certainly pushed on the start line. It was, you know, a really good idea to have that challenge. But I think the best way of thinking about it, and I guess I might end up doing 1 or 2 circuits at this row, is that if I'm going to walk somewhere, I might actually walk up to 2 or 3 miles. If it's more than 3 miles, and I'm a fast walker, I'm probably going to cycle or drive. So you actually get this point that 4 miles, travelling 4 miles can be actually a hell of a lot quicker than travelling 3 miles. You just need that emphasis to do it in a quicker way. So comfortably numb, what do we mean by that? Well, it's the need for change. And unfortunately, you know, you probably see it in people's relationships where they don't have a good relationship, they don't have a bad relationship, they just stay in the situation because it's okay. Whereas if it was a really bad relationship, they would move on and they would try something different. So sometimes things have to get quite bad before we make that change, because that's the emphasis. That's why, you know, when it's more than 3 miles to walk, we think, crikey, I better get in a bike or even a car and make that change quicker and get to the new place. So this comfortably numb is where it's very easy for people to be in a job they don't particularly enjoy, but they don't particularly hate it. You know, the boss isn't particularly nice, but he's not particularly nasty. The pay is not particularly good, particularly bad. They just stay there because, you know, change can really require a little bit of effort. And if everything seems okay, there isn't the emphasis to change. Whereas if things are bad, suddenly you have that force there driving you to make the change. So actually this is often a silver lining to a cloud when things are not good, that you get that emphasis to change and you have that new opportunity presenting itself. But I think it's a phrase, that comfortably numb, that we've probably all heard of, but probably don't think of that much, because it's just very easy to go day in, day out the way we normally do things. But yeah, that's definitely the thought for today. And personally, I'm quite glad of the time change, so I'll definitely be able to join you for the show. Comments, always very welcome. See you soon.
And here I thought it was Italian wine and food that made one comfortably numb, huh?
Yeah.
John Emmett Sailing, get to the front of the fleet. Another cool report. I guess he means inertia, right? Is that what that means?
Well,
Inertia, comfortably numb. You're just kind of into the flow and just keep going along, even if things aren't particularly great in a relationship or in the yacht race or in whatever your job. I guess. Thank you, John. There was a comment from Graham Sweeney I thought I saw over here. Great Pink Floyd tune, Comfortably Numb. Wow. Hi, Chris Exley. Yep, song from Pink Floyd. Gordon Smith got it, and as did a number of others of you. Look at that. I don't remember that. Complacent. Julie Aaron's got maybe a better word is complacent. The Wall came out. I listened to it at least once a day for months. I guess he's quoting from that. Okay, John Emmett would say, please like, follow, and share. Please do so to your own Facebook and YouTube pages. Remind us, Julie and I we're racking our old brains here, trying to remember who is Fog Machine. Is that Commodore Hart, Charlie Hart up in the North Bay, past Commodore, esteemed past Commodore St. Francis Yacht Club? Let us know, if you don't mind, who you are, and welcome again to all of you to show number 600. Now, John Emmett, before we leave his segment completely, I don't know if you can tell on your own television or your phone or your computer, wherever you're watching this, we are now streaming at 1080, 60 frames a second. So in honor of our 600 show, instead of 30 frames a second, we're at 60 frames a second, and you can see there's hardly any blur, any motion blur. Some people call it a soap opera framing. It's very, very high quality now. Look at that. That's a nice picture.
Shows every wrinkle perfectly.
For both of us. Show number 600 at 60 frames a second. And bravo Zulu to a couple different groups, teams. This in the Bacardi Cup down in Miami ended, wrapped up on Sunday. Other fleets, but I'm going to celebrate the Starboat today. The 96th, used to be a star-only regatta, but the 96th Bacardi Cup, which now includes, tell me what, J70s and Melgris 24s, I think, and maybe some RS somethings. But 73 stars from, I think, 20 nations. I wish regatta organizers not only would put cruise names in, which they do for the Star Class and for the Bacardi, but I wish they would put the number of yachts and the number of nations so you don't have to go through and kind of read it.
Right.
You know what I mean, Julia? I have to go through, and I'm lazy like most journalists. You know, you have to go through and count up the number of flags, or somebody just put the number of nations. Now, Robert D is the Finn class, 5.5 class. He does that. But bravo Zulu, I think 20 nation. Go ahead.
I was thinking that I like having the stars on the sails because then you know that they are royalty.
The stars.
Yeah.
Well, they're star. Well, you know
they're champions.
Well, the different colored stars.
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah,
the gold star means they're a world champion. Red star means they're something else. I think blue star is it hemisphere? I can't remember. But the other thing that is cool is that they can go back now and claim legacy. A lot of classes do it, not just the star class. You can claim a legacy sail number from, say, when you were in the Olympics or won a medal in the Olympics. John Emmett will tell you about that. Star class Bacardi Cup, the 96th Bacardi Cup won again. It's a four-peat. Congratulations to Mateus Kuznirovic and Bruno Prada. Bruno from Brazil, of course, the big guy in front. They've won it now 4 times in a row. That is the Bacardi top guns in that class. Here's the video.
The never-ending pursuit of excellence was all apparent on the final day of racing at the 96th Bacardi Cup and Bacardi Invitational Regatta. As ever, the 96th Bacardi Cup was the battle of all battles in the final race. Defending champions Mateusz Kuznirovic and Bruno Prada came, saw and conquered. Having won in 2020, 2021 and 2022, this year they did it again in huge style. They won the final race by over a minute and with it made history by claiming their 4th consecutive Bacardi Cup win.
You know, coming second in the general classification before the final race was the first time for us. Before, last year and the previous years, we were winning already. And this time we have to fight till the end, but I like it. I must say that even this morning we said, this is the challenge. We like this kind of situations. We are not worried. We're looking forward to make a beautiful race.
In the J70, Brian Keane's team on Savasana did what they needed, finishing 4th in the final race to take the title. Placed 2nd going into the day, Peter Duncan's Raza Mixter team reeled in their Melges 24 rivals to emerge victorious. A continuation of masterful sailing in the Melges 15 saw Rob Brits and Gillian Ade secure top billing with an advantage so crushing that they didn't need to finish the final race. Nobody could displace Christopher Alexander, Grace Howie and Rick Welsh in the VX1 as they again managed the competition skillfully to top the podium. In the 69F, Flying Nika 47 had control of the racetrack from start to finish, winning all but one of their races. Teams celebrated at the prize-giving and awards ceremony and enjoyed their final night of renowned Bacardi hospitality. Save the date for next year, March the 3rd to the 9th, 2024.
Bravo Zulu,
Yeah.
and Bravo
Nice.
Zulu also to Icarus Sports, who produces a lot of videos for a lot of different classes. Wasn't that nice, Julia?
It was a good one.
Huh? Super video.
Yeah.
And there's more here. We wanted to show you the smiling face of the winner, Bruno, there on the left, obviously the big boy, the crew from Brazil, and Mateus on the right. And prizes were presented to the top 5 overall and to the winners in the age divisions under 30. Matthew, I'm not how to pronounce your last name. Rajashish, Eric Wagner. They sound German, but I'm not sure. Master, skippers age 50 through 59 to even Melda B and Mark Strube. They are perennials in the class. Grandmaster, our longtime friend Paul Kerr. That's for the 60 plus with Friedhoff Clean with him. And then the exalted Grandmaster, skippers age 70 plus to Larry Whipple and Killian Weiss, depending upon where you were from and what language you're
But
using.
nice group.
Nice group, eh?
Mm.
And terrific class, terrific event. And those other classes too. I didn't go into the depths and the details, but you can see this is quite a group in the top 10, including Eric Doyle, Peter O'Leary, Hans Spitzauer, Caird, we mentioned, George Szabo. These are, and John McCausland, all of whom I think are former world champions, at least the ones I've mentioned, maybe others as well. Bravo Zulu. And Bravo Zulu also to this event, which wrapped on Sunday down under in Oz, the JJ, the 73rd annual JJ, the World Championship of the 18 footers. And Bravo Zulu 2, the winning, this is also a repeat. This is the defending champion, the Andu team, John Winning Jr., whose dad also is racing still. I think senior was 5th or 6th. We'll show you in a moment. Seve Jarvin and Sam Newton retained the crown of world champion with an outstanding victory in the winning group JJ Giltonen. I think it's pronounced hard G. Giltonen, 18-foot skiff championship and concluded on Sydney Harbor Sunday. Andu finished in 2nd place in Sunday's race, but the result was good enough to complete the championship with a total of 25 points after winning 4 races of the 9-race regatta. Bravo Zulu to them, and to the others, it was a terrific series. John Winning Jr.'s team on Andu, their first 6 points ahead of Finport Finance, that's Keegan York et al. Smeg, which had a pretty good regatta, they won a race and were 2nd and 3rd, and a couple others. That's Michael Coxon's team. They were 3rd, and our old, by now, friends Harry Price, Josh McKnight, and Harry Hall on Rag & Famish Hotel finished 4th. And Nooks Sailing / Big Pete, I'm not sure what Big Pete is, Sean Langman's team finished 5th and on down. So Bravo Zulu to them all, and a terrific event again. Someday we're going to go cover that, aren't we, Julia?
Absolutely.
Down there. And thanks to any number of you who sent us information on those regattas and that last one in particular. Let's go. We're only half an hour into the show, Julie. We're moving smartly through this.
Amazing.
It is amazing. Let's get into the ocean race. As you know, they're going across from Cape Town to Itajaí in Brazil. They're now into the Southern Pacific Ocean, or almost. I think they are. And this is where they're headed, to Itajaí in Brazil, on at the end of their leg 3. This is the current positioning. In fact, here's a live shot of the tracker. This is a screen grab from a couple hours ago. I'll go back to. You can see they are through the scoring longitude, through the scoring gate, where you get points for going through that gate, half the points of the leg. So they're through here. Well, that's quite a reflection in that screen.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen that. I guess it's the black. And they're almost south now of Auckland. This brown line is the ice, is the exclusion zone. They've got to stay north of that so that they don't get down there into the ice territory. But that's where they are. And here's today's race report. I guess I have to read this.
Let's go.
I forget I have to do the voiceover. I wish they'd voice these themselves.
Well,
All boats are heading east, but trying to sail less miles as they jibe close to the ice exclusion zone. After a thorough inspection of the boat following a tear in their mainsail, 11th Hour Racing have decided to continue. They were thinking about dropping out in
right.
Tasmania or New Zealand because of all the problems they're having, but they're carrying on, at least for now. Biotherm have suffered some damage to a longitudinal frame in the boat that required some carbon fiber repair work. Southern Ocean is taking its toll.
Yes.
Faut que ça
Oh,
sèche.
Neil Hat, the skipper of Biotherm.
Il faut pas que ça recasse. Normalement, c'est bon.
Since the scoring gate, Team Wholesome PRB are once again starting to extend their lead over the chasing pack. Yeah, they've gotten into some good breeze now. Ooh,
Oh. Ah.
I'm going to show you a video from Biotherm in a moment. With cold temperatures and lower wind speeds, sailors will use the time to maintain their boats and themselves. More of the same for the next few days, steady northerly winds and no major opportunity for any tactical moves. That is today's video from the Ocean Race. And here is the aforementioned video off of Biotherm.
Oh.
A selfie. This
Nous
is
dans le
taken
bateau parce qu'on a quelques fuites
by themselves
à droite à gauche.
and from their drone.
On éponge régulièrement et Anto il a vu qu'il y avait une cloison longitudinale qui était fissurée sur 3 mètres. Et donc on est en train de voir avec l'équipe technique comment on répare. A priori c'est une cloison qui n'est pas trop structurelle donc pas très grave. Voilà. Il va falloir réparer mais ça devrait pas compromettre la suite de la course. On va peut-être perdre un peu de temps mais...
Non, on répare ça en avançant.
On avance normal, mais pas en brûlant trop.
Oh, faut 18 nœuds.
On est à 132.
On va bientôt commencer ça.
Je commence en tout, c'est bon? Ouais. Allez, je vais indiquer la température du produit là.
On peut enchaîner la deuxième direct. Hein.
Ah oui, bah c'est parti.
Et vous faites ça souvent le week-end ou quoi? Moi j'ai fait ça souvent sur mon Alf. Mais moins bien que ça.
Tous les dimanches midi. Elle est prête.
Tiens.
C'est réglé comme neuf.
Faut que ça sèche. Et il faut pas que ça recasse. Normalement c'est bon.
Okay, well, that's quite some video, isn't it?
Yes.
Huh?
You can feel yourself inside that, I must say.
I guess there wasn't any drone footage in that, but here's a live look at the tracker, and you can see that they are south of, really south of the South Island now of New Zealand. And if I drag this over, you can see they got a long ways to go yet. Long ways to go to Tipperary. It's a long way to Tipperary. I guess we'll sing that on maybe Saturday. So, to the Cape, to the Corn, as Paul Kayard calls it, Cape Horn. So they're a long way away, and if we zoom in here, you can see that Wholesome PRB is, let me put the wind on here too so you can see that. As I said in that video, it's from the north, or it's actually from the northwest. And they're all in about the same amount of breeze and about the same angle, so you're not going to see much change also, as they said. But Team Malizia is second, 63 miles you can see down there on the bottom back. Biotherm 129 miles back. And 11th Hour Racing, which has had to fight with various problems. Their rudder that cracked, and they had to repair that, and then a mainsail that tore. So they are back here in the cheap seats. That's them back here. I wonder if I can pop that. I thought you could click on that and pop that up. Maybe you can't. There we go. 11th Hour Racing back here in fourth place. Some 100 and almost 52 miles back of the leader, Wholesome PRB. Okay, so enough of all that, as we have now a chart from our egghead dear friend and super fozy, Clark Chapin, who sent this chart. Look at this. I think in words, the written word, but Clark is an engineer and he thinks in numbers and graphs and bars. But if you look at this, it's a very clever submission from Clark. This is the number of nautical miles ahead and behind of the leader. So here are the three chasing boats that were, they all started out together, and then come the whatever day this is, a little bit the third, fourth, fifth, second, third, fourth, they're fully 600 plus nautical miles behind, and now they've been catching up. This is the 12th, and now today's the 14th. So you can see that the whole group has closed up to Wholesome PRB, which is 0 nautical, and they're just across the top here. This is the scoring gate, what's the distance behind Wholesome PRB when they crossed. And this then carries forward. Here's Cape Horn now. This is the distance to finish for the leader. So you can see they're still, well, here they are, 6,800 miles to the Corn, and to finish is still 14. No, here they are. That's Wholesome PRB. Clark, thank you. So they are 6,800 miles. That's distance to finish, right, Clark? 6,800 miles still to go. My goodness. 2,000 miles from the Corn to up around Brazil to the port of Itajaí. Okay, did I butcher that, Clark? Thank you very much for
That's a really great
for sending that along. It's a cool chart.
It
Isn't it?
is. Mm-hmm.
Courtesy of our super fozy Clark Chapin. Speaking of the other Cape, Ted Ryman is checking in, saying hello from Cape Town. And just above that, John Schaefer said, it takes 5 dark and stormies to get comfortably numb for the true professional. You see that? What other comments? There are lots and lots. We love the comments.
Yes.
Welcome back. Julia looking lovely. Thank you, Chris Exley. Yeah, she was here on Friday. Nice to have her back. The frame rate is excellent. Thank you, Chris Exley. Emmett is saying, okie dokie, he's going to send his next report at 60 frames a second. Blur will happen during Friday's St. Patrick's Day show.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still not sure.
We have to have Irish coffee.
Well, it's St. Patrick's Day on Saturday. We had Irish coffee last year, I think.
Yeah.
Didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, we'll see. Great quality image. Now to hire the makeup team. Viper 640s. Yeah, thank you, Fritz Mueller. They were in the Bacardi. Spot the pimple. Don't, please. A gold star is the world champion. Chevrons, colors and chevrons. If they have a lone star, does that mean they're cowboys? Pindar is asking. That's clever. That is clever.
Mm-hmm.
Holtzman star is just a big interlake. Well, as Joe Holtzman knows, who sailed interlakes, the interlake was designed by Francis Sweisguth, who is the same design. In fact, I think the interlake was designed in what, Joe, 1929. The star designed just a few years before that, maybe 1919, 10 years before that. The interlake, the 18-foot sloop-rigged low aspect ratio boat with a kite, originally didn't have a kite. Was designed as a trainer for the starboat for use on the Great Lakes. Big plate centerboard, and that's the class that Joe Holtzman sails. Clark Chapin has sailed. My father has sailed. The class I last sailed in last summer for a few races at my home club. Stinger, are there any restrictions around liquor companies sponsoring sailing? Not of which I am aware. Youth sailing, certainly, but I don't believe there is. Richard Rundle, who's from Chicago and from a long time, he's a long-time starboat sailor, and his father as well. A Green Star is the Great Lakes champion. Bill Wingrove says that the Malgus 15 winner in the Bacardi Cup down in Miami is from his home club, Davis Island Yacht Club in Tampa, Florida, where we sailed Fireballs for years. For years. Oh, Julie Aarons, it's not prohibited to advertise, but you shouldn't imbibe during the races. What else? Okay, all you talking about alcohol. This is a sailing show.
I know.
Not an alcohol show.
Always.
Smeg had, yeah, Chris, actually, thanks for that. Smeg had David Witt skippering on Saturday and Sunday after the original skipper got injured. Did pretty well. Yes, he did. Whitty's a hell of a good sailor, as you all know. Don Riley's on. Hi, Don. Harry Hall is an Oak Cliff grad. Yes, he is. Don's doing a lot of great things for sailors. And Julie, I don't know, we were talking about it. I with Peter Taylor, who also helps Don out doing race committee work and judging, I think, work out at Oak Cliff. But Don sent a very long and detailed proposal on all, first of all the things that Oak Cliff Sailing, her sailing center in Long Island Sound is doing in Oyster Bay, and also on the south side of Long Island, and also some ideas for the future, particularly for our Olympic program now that it's having a bit of a struggle. And anybody, go on to her website and have a look at that. Peter Taylor and I talked about it this morning. I didn't have a chance to talk to Dawn about that, but it's a great, very thoughtful piece that she's put out. Big Pete is Sean Langman's dad, who passed recently. Okay, thanks, Steve Gruber. Bingo, John Schaefer saying, lots of others, lots of comments. Yeah, Steve Kako was back on board on Sunday. He was very well bandaged. He'd almost tore his ear off on Thursday. I didn't know that. Duct tape. 11th hour is focusing on just getting to Itajaí. Yeah, that's right. They were going to get through the scoring gate and then maybe head north to the dock in Tasmania, or in this case, the South Island of New Zealand. I hope they make it to Brazil, Gordon Smith, in time to make. Yeah, they'll make it. They'll make it, one way or another. 6,800 to go, still over halfway. It's hard to believe. It's a long
it is.
leg. Thanks, Clark Shaven. Cool chart, Clark. Yep, Chris actually saying. Jeff Glass. There's a guy we haven't heard from in a while. You know who Jeff Glass is? That is Larry Ellison's pilot, or he owns the company that charters planes. Larry. Jeff is just a peach of a guy. One of the nicest guys I've ever met. He's not a big sailor, but he used to, ferry Larry around to events where we were all ferry Larry, and just a terrific guy. He'd always come to the shows, and he always knew the answers. The guy's obviously very smart.
Yeah. The
17th is Friday. Is St. Patrick's Day Friday or Saturday?
I think the 17th is.
Well, today is the 14th, so 15, 16, 17th is Friday. Saturday's the 8th, so St. Patty's Day is Friday. Of course we have to have Irish coffee.
Of course.
Okay, thank you. The Interlake looks like the wing. Okay, you guys are talking about the Interlake. 1935 for the Interlake, Joe Holtzman is saying it was designed. Okay, Sailing Illustrated needs an alcohol sponsor. Now, we're happy to have our patrons. 600 show. Yep, Alistair Murray, thank you. He's been out for a long ride. We have an Alistair's Awesome Aussie anecdote coming up here in this show.
Good.
Terrific one at that. Fog Machine, yep, he's reminding us, Mary Jude, everybody's reminding us that it is St. Patty's Day is Friday. Thanks again for that chart, Clark's chart. Speaking of awesome Aussie anecdotes, here it is for today. I love the intro. If I do say so myself, having put it together. And I love the Royal Naval Band, and of course, Waltzing Matilda. Alistair's awesome Aussie anecdote for this week.
G'day, Tom, Julia, and all the Fozy.
Channeling.
Here I am standing
John Emmett.
At the entrance to Sandringham Yacht Club. I'm here doing the Tays Asto titles. I'm not bothering the scorers after not sailing for a year and picking up a new crew off the beach. I'm not doing too well. I think I'm right in the middle of the fleet, 15th out of 30, but it's onward and upward from here, and we've got a lighter day, which might suit me a bit better today. I'm going to do a profile of Sandringham Yacht Club for all of the FOSI to give you an indication of what a great club this is. We have 3,000 members, and it's a fantastic club. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a bit of a walkthrough for you at a later date. But just quickly about these Tazar states. This is a dry run for the Worlds that we've got here in January 2024. We've got expecting 120 boats, and this is a practice run for the race management and for sailors, and we've had a couple of great days. We've had 6 races in the last 2 days. So I'm going to just give you a quick walk down to the off the beach area so you can see what that's all about.
My mic's down there, and he did send another video right after that one to give us a walkabout.
So welcome back to AAAA, Alistair's Awesome Aussie Anecdote. This is a little walkthrough for Sandringham Yacht Club that I just promised you. This is the big welcome sign we have at the front of the club. Well, acknowledgement of all of our sponsors. You can see nice Ronstand logo there. When you walk towards the club, that's the big clubhouse over there. As I said, I'll give you another walkthrough later to give you a good profile of this magnificent yacht club. But just quickly walking towards the off the beach area. We walk through the working boat yard, which is all of the boats up having work done on them in the slip area. Lots of boats, lots of activity. It's a very, very active yacht club. As I walk towards it, that's, as I said, the main clubhouse over there on that side, and then we have our off the beach club here. This is named after Lou Abrahams. It's the Lou Abrahams Off the Beach Sailing Centre. He was a legend of ocean racing here. Did about 30 Sydney Hobarts. He was also the chairman of Ronstand for a while, which was great. You'll see our brand new travel lift there, off in the distance. That's just come in from Italy. We can haul lots of big boats. And over here, we have the off the beach area with 30 Tazars all being rigged up. You'll see mine in the foreground here with the logo on it. My boat's called El Capitan. You can see there's my personal logo with my photograph on it. And lots of activity in the boat yard, which is something we love to see. Looking back at the clubhouse here, a great facility for weddings and parties and sailing, all sorts of sailing activities. And then this is the One Design hard stand area over here with J24s. I think we've got a fleet of 20 or 25 of those, and Etchells, and there's the Flying 15 sitting there. How about that? And then we head over towards the marina. I think we have 250 boats or 300 boats in that marina. I've got a keel boat in there somewhere. I can see it off in the distance, and we've got some pretty high-tech machinery there as well. You can see Scarlet Runner right there. So just finishing off my little tour. As I said, I'll give you a more comprehensive one of Sandringham Yacht Club at a later date. But here's this fantastic environment of people indulging in a wonderful sport, having a great time, hurting because it's been pretty windy over the last couple of days, but I'm looking forward to something a bit lighter today and doing a little bit better myself. And I'm just going to finish off. I'm going to go over and say hello to these guys just quickly. This is Chris Dance and Peter Hackett. I'm filming for Sailing Illustrated, which is a US sailing blog.
Oh, right.
And these guys were the world champions in the Tazars and pretty strongly favoured to be defending their title successfully in January. What do you reckon, Pete?
No pressure at all.
No pressure at all?
So, yeah, we're putting in yards on the local waters, so yeah, we feel like we're pretty good shot at with being familiar with the bay.
And they've been first home in every race of the 6 we've had this series, except they were OCS in one race. How did that happen, Pete?
You know, it's yeah, definitely pushing ourselves, challenging ourselves to start well, and that's going to mean a little bit of errors here and there. So that's part of doing better. We'll just finish off by hearing from the skipper. Whose fault was it?
Look, everything's crew's fault, isn't it?
Thanks, guys, and good luck. And Tom and Julia signing out for Sailing Illustrated for today and going sailing. Bye.
I
Oh,
love
nice.
these reports from anybody, but Alistair's in particular. He's
Yeah.
just great fun. Yeah, Ryan Clark says his nice Ron Stan logo is all one word, and it is. I'm happy for him to promote Ron Stan. He's a terrific friend, and that company, like Harkin, is terrific for our sport.
Yep.
Chris Exley and others. What an impressively large club. Steve Gruber, that club looks awesome. Yeah, indeed. Excuse my itching my nose. Nice club, Alan Long is saying. Yeah, it's they do a lot of events. In fact, while that video was playing, I pulled up a map here for the 600 show. I've now got a quick facility where I can go online and look at your comments, look at other things. But it's is that called Port Phillip Bay? You remember, Julia?
Yeah,
That's
well,
it's the big bay, Melbourne, and it's just south of Melbourne, down there on the east side of the bay. And I think John Emmett and the Lasers were there, weren't they, a couple of years ago? Replying, yeah, it's a terrific club. And Alan Long asking if Nick Douglas and her dad are competing because they've been regulars in the Taser class. My wife and I used to sail a Taser way back when. And of course, the McKee brothers are famous up in Seattle, are famously good Taser sailors as well. Thank you, Alistair. Nice report. Another Alistair's awesome Aussie anecdote. And we got a couple others in the can that maybe we'll get to sooner or later.
Yes.
Da, 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 da. We'll go a waltzing Matilda with you. With you, me. 600, yep, it's the 14th here, but it's the 15th down under. I couldn't find anything interesting on the 14th, so I went to the 15th. And of course, you know what the Ides of March is all about, right, Julia?
Right.
And I thought that was apropos, everything that's going on. The Ides of March, the banking business up here, the stock market. Although the market recovered here a bit today.
Yeah, I saw that.
It's up 300 or 400 points. But Alistair Murray just called it's just called Port Phillip, not Port Phillip Bay. Laser Worlds were there 2 years ago. And yes, Nick and Rob Douglas will be sailing. We give them our regard. She's been on the show. She's a folks
Yes.
as well. So what happened, Julia, on this day in history? 44 BC.
Oh my gosh, that I don't know.
You don't?
Mm-mm.
Here's a clue. It's your only clue. It's a famous painting called The Death of Caesar by Jean-Léon Gérôme, I guess you pronounce it. A French painter who lived from 1824 to 1904. He painted that in 1867, just a few years after AC0. Steve Gruber's got it. Yep, Caesar was killed. Clark Chapin, as Tucker Carlson, one of our TV presenters, says, Julius Caesar passed away today, surrounded by his close friends.
Oh.
Yes, that's indeed what happened today. 44 BC. He's stabbed to death by Brutus, Cassius, and several other Roman senators on the Ides of March in Rome. And the famous saying, Julia, was, you also, Brutus?
Oh, et tu,
Brute. Well done.
Mm-hmm.
You went to Stanford. You're supposed to know these things.
Oh, well, it's not late enough.
Et tu, Brute. Well, you've got coffee there. Didn't I fix you an iced coffee before?
Oh, yes.
I can see it there on your table.
Oh, yes. That's
Et
what
tu,
it is.
Brute. Yeah, he was killed. And of course, now, do you know, here speaking, I didn't mean to segue to Grant Dalton. Julie Aarons will not be amused. Do you know why he was killed? Does anybody? For extra credit, James Frederick Land's got Et tu, Brute. Beware the Ides of March. Yes, he was warned by several, but in one in particular, I think the term is whacked. He was whacked. Why was he killed? Who knows? I'm waiting for a comment.
I've forgotten.
And of course, I have the advantage of knowing what I'm going to ask, and I looked it up when I was preparing those three slides. And they're all Googling it right now, and to see who can cut and paste the quick. Julia.
Yeah. Well, that's all right. It's better than
He
not
put
a-
lime in the coconut. That was a good one, Bill Wingrove. Skimming from the bosses. Well, I don't think that was the case, Clayton Emily. That's good. What else? They're working on.
Will this be on the final?
This will be on the final because he was an evil despot. No, he required a Hungarian TV team for the chariot races. Jonathan Frank, ding, ding, ding. He gets the applause for that one. That was good. He was killed to allow Marcus Aurelius to give a great speech. Clever people. Luce Adriana Leahy, thank you. Thank you for your comments. I look forward to the next 600. Well, I don't know about that. He was supposedly killed, Julie, because he was going to anoint himself the emperor for life, and they thought he was getting too powerful. And of course, after he was killed, that was the end of the Roman Republic, and led to, because there were elections supposedly in the Roman Senate,
Right.
and that led to then the Roman Empire. After he was killed. Speaking of empires, we've got how was that?
That was pretty good.
Grant Dalton in the America's Cup AC37 Cup Date, and our first one, we got 2 videos. Haven't checked in with Ineos for a while, but they finally, after off the water for quite some days, they finally splashed their new AC45. Have a look. Looking for wind out off of Palma. They had to go a long way to find some breeze here yesterday.
Jeff Causey, head of on-water operations for Ineos. We went a long way offshore today in search of breeze. Can you just describe the weather scenario and why we had to do that?
Yeah, it was a tricky day, I suppose, from that standpoint where there was almost nothing in the bay all day long, but we saw an opportunity to go outside the bay, and it was either go to the far east or go to the far west. Initially, we thought we were going to be on the east side around the cliffs, and as it turned out, the breeze we were getting was sort of west of Calafiguera and sort of in between there and El Toro. So that's where we ended up.
In the end, we did get some decent breeze. We had to wait around a little bit for it, and it seemed like there was a struggle to get foiling in the really light stuff. Was that part of today's mission?
Yeah, and especially being outside the bay, it was an opportunity to look at some takeoffs and things and sort of lighter breeze and in some messy sea state. So it was good. It was productive.
Now, you guys have had quite a long break from sailing. Can you talk about that a little bit? Just give us a feel for what that was about.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot going on in the shed at the moment. So trying to get that balance right between spending time in the one design boat and then, keeping the development projects moving forward that we want to launch soon. So that's really what that's about. And it's been, I guess we've had an opportunity with the weather as well over the last kind of week and a half that's made it easy to make that decision.
Because the weather's not been ideal for sailing?
Yeah, I mean, we've had some days on the windier end, and just with all of the things that we're juggling, it was easy to sort of decide to focus on what we're doing in the shed.
Let's just quickly go back to the Capsizer T6. You were heavily involved in the coordination of that operation. I guess you've done debriefing it now. Has a lot been fed back to the other teams on that?
Certainly a lot has been fed back internally. I don't know how much of that I don't think there's been really an official format between teams to look at the event that I'm aware of, or that I've been part of.
But some big lessons learned, maybe?
Yeah, definitely internally. There's been a lot for us to take away, both for the remainder of our training program in the small boats and into the big boat as well. So that's good.
Now, T6, what's the update on T6? What can you tell us?
Watch this space. She's coming back soon.
Okay, so until she does, we'll continue to see the AC40 as your boat?
Yeah, I mean, we're taking, again, there's obviously an opportunity there where we're trying to get T6 both, well, there's clearly some damage that we suffered in the capsize that we need to recover, and we're mostly through that, but it lined up, as it turned out, the capsize with an upgrade period where literally 2 days after the capsize, we were planning to shut the boat down for these last 3 weeks anyway, so we're nearing the end of that period and hoping to get the boat on the water soon with a handful of upgrades, and in the meantime, it sort of made sense to continue sailing and get the training in on the AC40 and commission that boat, so we're ready to go.
And final question, where do you feel as a team, where do you feel you are against your plan? Are you ahead, behind, just where you want it to be?
I think you always feel like you're behind. That's my experience. So it's, this is a massive race against the clock, and you'd always like to be ahead of where you're at. But I think generally, certainly even over the last couple of weeks, capsize included, we're where we thought we'd be in terms of being able to launch some of these upgrades in the next sort of few days.
That's fantastic. Thanks for talking to us, Jeff.
No worries.
I thought that was about the best set of questions we've heard.
Yes.
And great answers. It was open and frank. Did I introduce that segment? Not saying Steve Gruber saying AC40. Did I not say AC40? Obviously, I meant to. And Gordon Smith, well, this is their 10th day, he's saying, of sailing the AC40. Yeah, but they've been off for some number of days. I think they've been off for 9 or 10 days before they got back on the water. And you heard the back and forth about T6 Stingray, the boat that went turtle for several hours, has still not relaunched, and it's been 6 weeks. And J. Frederick Bland pointing out how hard it is to foil in light air. I never expected. Of course, he expected the hit. Yeah, Julie Aaron's observing they're not doing particularly well. Such a shame. Yeah, I hope they keep coming good. You know, we'll see when everybody's new boat, when they get their final boat, their big AC 75 in the water. AC 75. God, I'm starting to lose it with all these different boats and sizes and so on. I think, you know, until people come up with their final boat and see what it looks like and what the wings look like, and we'll see.
And how heavy it is.
Well, heavy, they're all going to be about the same weight, I think. And Steve Gruber reminding us all in Stingray saying, don't forget it caught fire. Not sure what structural damage was done by that. Yeah, and of course the electronics having to probably be replaced almost entirely. Yep, Steve, they're losing a lot of valuable time. ETNZ is doing a good job. I suspect Alinghi is doing a good job. I still think Alinghi leads the number of days on the water. Yeah, thank you, Julie Aarons. Steve Gruber, AC 75 is correct. You know, we had AC 72s here in 2013. And then we had AC 50s in Bermuda. And we had AC 75s last time. Yeah. To say nothing of the ocean race, the Volvo 65s and the Volvo 70s, but it is the AC 75s. I'm more concerned about the lack of success at Sail GP, Gordon Smith is saying, apropos of the Brits, I suppose, is what he means. Yeah, I think Justin Chisholm, Justin is doing he is a great interviewer and a talented sailing journalist, Andrew Pindar. If you see him before I do, give him our regards and tell him we were saying nice things about him on the show, as usual, not that we don't normally. So that is a nice video. And then the next one we have is American Magic catching up with them down in Pensacola, Florida. Have a look. Okay, well, that is kind of a unceremonious ending. A lot of cycling, and if you're going to train, I guess training in the 2 Ps, either in Palma or Pensacola, it would be pretty pleasant to use some alliteration.
Yes.
Huh?
Yes.
Is that the correct word, the correct figure of speech?
Absolutely.
You know, I only went to this public school.
Well, you've done very well
for a public school.
For a public school.
My mother hates it when I say that. So does Julie Aarons. Now I have a question. This is the new American Magic logo. They put out a press release, made a bit of a deal about it. I didn't say anything about it a couple weeks ago. But I ask you now, is this new logo of New York Yacht Club's American Magic, is it correct or croutonic? Do you like it? Do you not like it? Should have that been reversed in blue instead of black? And they do reverse it in white. I've seen both used. Do you like the logo? Is it correct?
Better than the black.
And if so, is it, which do you prefer, the black or the white? I'm just asking. Fritz Mueller saying Pensacola's flat. They need to get in some mountain miles. Proper prior preparation prevents piss poor performance in Pensacola or Palma. James Bland. Greg Phillips likes it down in Australia. Hello, Roger Prout. There's a new name. Haven't seen in a while. He likes the white. Croutonic, messy, Alistair Murray. Yeah, that's my reaction too, Alistair. It's a bit overwhelming for the eyes. Jeff also likes the white. Looks a whole lot better than the America's Cup official logo, Jonathan Frank is saying. I agree. Yeah. Clark likes the white. I'm always hoping, Julie Ahrens is saying that T. Hutch does well. He's such a great guy. He is a gentleman and he's just a terrific guy. Don't downplay the University of Michigan. You know what? I just do that, Julie Ahrens, because I know if I do, you'll say something nice about it, even though you're a big fan of Ohio State. Of course, the University of Michigan didn't even make it into the basketball NCAA tournament this year. So most of you like the white. It does seem a little busy to me. I agree with Alistair, but who am I to judge somebody else's?
It sort of depends on where it is, too.
Chris Exley saying, yeah, it's kind of meh. What works better in white? Yeah, I think the white is better. I wish they'd use that one, but it's whatever. Red and black are aggressive colors. Yeah, they are. Mm-hmm. James Bland is saying, does either one make it any faster? Now, Alan Long, for one, likes the black one. Joe Holtzman, the Toledo Rockets are going to beat Michigan today. What are the Toledo Rockets? Is that in the NIT tournament, the other tournament? Don't tell Jody Shields, Jonathan Frank is saying. Don't tell them that. It may be their only hope. What does that mean? I don't know. Okay. Enough of that. A logo's a logo. It's all in the eye of the proverbial beholder, right, Julia?
Right.
Which gets us to the last leg. I love this. Painting, as does Maura Stevens up in Nova Scotia. We get here to the last leg, and the last leg is about the regatta, which is upcoming this weekend. Ken Saban likes that black logo, he's saying. Confirmed. Full 9-boat F50 fleet to race at this weekend's ITM New Zealand Sail Grand Prix, Christchurch. So this could have been a Bravo Zulu as well to the tech team. The full 9-strong flying F50 fleet, they announced today, is SailGP, is set to compete on the waters of, I don't know how to pronounce that, in Maui, Littleton Harbor this weekend following an intense repair program. It comes after a severe weather incident, as you all will know, caused significant damage to the fleet's wing sails, and in particular the Canada F50, after the first day of racing in Sydney. I mean, look at this. Is just looks like the winch man. That's just the guy in charge of the winches, it looks like. But look at the precision, the well laid out, this is a professional operation onshore and off. Since then, the SailGP tech team, and Russell Coots is not paying me to say that. Since then, the SailGP tech team has been working flat out to repair the fleet in time for the ITM New Zealand Sail Grand Prix in Christchurch this weekend. The repair program was a joint effort by the SailGP tech team, which has been repairing the Canada F50 and wings on the ground in Littleton, and the SailGP Technologies in Warkworth, where they build the boat. So bravo Zulu to all involved. I'm delighted. Thank you. I got notes from several of you about this, and I know you're all jazzed up to watch. Is the racing Friday, Saturday, or is it Saturday, Sunday, down under? I think it's always confusing. I think it is Saturday, Sunday, which means it's Friday, Saturday here. Am I right? Tell me if I'm right or wrong. Meanwhile, here's a quick video on Joe L.A., who's a terrific sailor, and I don't know her well, but she's a cool gal sailing with Team New Zealand. Have a look.
My name's Joe L.A. and I'm from New Zealand. I first went sailing at the Ponsonby Cruising Club in Auckland in a little optimist. I was actually inspired by Sir Peter Blake to take up sailing. I think if I could go back 10 years, I would just tell myself to enjoy it a bit more because it's pretty amazing what we do. My first boat was called Blue Thunder. Yeah, I think I delivered papers at some stage when I was quite young. Oh, easy. Lake Garda, definitely my favourite sailing spot in the world. Oh, window or aisle. I mean, I've just sat in a window seat for 19 hours. So right now I'm thinking aisle, but maybe I'll go back to window. I think the most fun I've had on an F50, it's got to be Saint-Tropez. Just the windier the better. Oh, where do I see myself in 10 years? Hopefully still loving sailing.
I think we have to have Joe do our voiceovers for any promos we do. We get her on the show. I mean, what a fabulous voice.
Yeah.
Gravelly. You used to call that a smoky voice, you know? Scotch and soda, a jigger of gin.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm sure she does not smoke and probably doesn't drink much because she is a tough lady and a hell of a good sailor. And she will be racing this weekend, New Zealand Sail Grand Prix in Christchurch, the 2-day spectacle of exhilarating races, intense rivalries, will make its debut on the 18th and 19th. So that is Saturday and Sunday. I think I had that right, in Christchurch, which is Friday and Saturday here in San Francisco, and late night, early morning in Europe. We'll watch that on their YouTube channel as usual. Gets us to a new photo for the finish line. Thank you, Bill Wingrove, for this. Those, of course, are J24s. And if you see the blue boat, you see the blue boat here? Can you read the name of the boat?
Pigs in Hiding.
Pigs in Hiding. And this is obviously a very close finish. Ambush 299 in Pigs in Hiding. And on that blue boat, number 2217, that is Bill Wingrove's boat. I asked him. He said, look at 2217. I said, why? He said, well, that's my boat. The boat named Pigs in Hiding, named by a former owner's kids from their favorite book at the time. Now, for extra credit, do any of you know when Pigs in Hiding was released as a child's book?
I've never heard of it.
Well, I knew it was in the late 70s or early 80s because it was before Meg was born. Meg was born in 92. And it was one of her favorite books. So it was released in 83. Pigs in Hiding. And for those of you who are culturally deprived, there's the cover of the book by Arlene Dubanovich, I guess is her name, released in 1983. Pigs. How's that, Bill Wingrove, for a promotion for your J24, Pigs in Hiding? That photo from the J24 Midwinters at the esteemed Davis Island Yacht Club there in Tampa. Photo by Christopher Howell. And we'll use that for a while as our finish line photo, which brings us to my favorite part of the show. Julie, we have some good submissions today. We have some good submissions for Whiskey Tango Foxtrot. And everybody who knows, most of you know how much I hate this. I don't care if we stay on daylight time or standard time, but the switchy, Rooney, the back and forth just drives me crazy. And it does because everybody's trying to follow the show around the world. It's not that big a deal. As Chris Bretschker said the other day, he said, Tom, it's only an hour. It's not that big a deal, right?
Right.
It's only an hour, but it makes it difficult for a lot of people. Look at this, a busy night at Stonehenge as workers had to move all the stones forward 1 hour when the Brits go on summertime, as they call it. Thanks, Baton Rouge, Baton Cannon down in Charleston for that one. This was another submission. You're all, I know, teasing me with this, but this one was particularly good as well. That's from Ed Worley down in SoCal. Ed's got he's got some of those America's Cup trivia questions, America's Cup challenges for the Fozzie and the Can. We'll get those wound back up here in due course. This teasing me about the banjo, and remember we had that segment last, was it Friday, about the Bagpipe Day?
Yes.
I think it was World Bagpipe Day. The four musicians of the apocalypse: the banjo, the bagpipe, the accordion, and
bongos.
I didn't know, but I hadn't thought about that. You know, the bongos are pretty irritating too.
Yeah.
You can only listen to the bongos for so long if somebody's doing a poetry reading or something, you know. And of course, everybody thinks they're a bongo player. That anybody
Absolutely.
that anybody can play the bongos, and it's croutoning. The four musicians, the apocalypse. Ed Worley said that as well. Now this one is cool. This is how sailors drive. Ed sent this one as well.
Yeah.
And this was a cartoon, but I found Ed. I actually found a photo in the Sailing Anarchy forums of a sailor hanging out the top of their, what is that, a VW Golf? A Canadian license plate? I can't tell. Yeah, beautiful British Columbia. I can see here, over here on the big screen. Right. I can look up close on that license plate, and this is how sailors drive their cars, hanging out the moonroof or the sky roof in the car, hiked out. I hope somebody's driving that car. Maybe they're not moving. It does look like some motion to the wheels, courtesy of Sailing Anarchy forums. Okay, enough of all that. Finally, I reached out, Julia, to Stingray, and I said, Stinger, you know, this is the drinking show with a sailing habit, and I don't have an appropriate, you know, a meme, something for this one. So he sent this just before showtime, and thank you, Stingray. Weekend forecast, mostly drinking with a chance of sailing. Well, I'll tell you what, I just a few minutes ago, I don't know if you can hear the wind outside here. It is, well, it's not quite as dark and it's no longer raining, but we have had wind here today. I mean, okay.
I love this, that Richard Feynman used to play the banjo.
The famous.
Yeah, the famous.
Famous physicist, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Okay, that's the weekend forecast. I hope it's I hope it's the weather's fine wherever you are for our drinking show with a sailing habit. Thank you, Stingray, for that one. Julia, your witness.
Yes. Do not fail to like, follow, and share. And it's interesting if you look at what happens, bother to check to see what happens once you do that. You find out all kinds of people who are around.
Well, it does help us. The more likes, follow, share, the interaction, we're getting more and more each week, which is great. It helps us. Not that we're monetizing the show, but what happens is that it starts putting it out. The YouTube algorithm says, oh, there's more people commenting, there's more people like, following, and sharing, so we'll then start sharing the show to people who look like they have a sailing interest on YouTube or Facebook. So we appreciate that. Comments, of course, are welcome, even in replay. And please support us, become a patron. We especially appreciate those of you get us through to the 600th show by giving us a few bucks a month. $5, $10, something. It helps keep us on the air. Become a patron at patreon.com/join/sailing illustrated. Julia, any final thoughts? After 600 shows, almost 6 years, it'll be 6 years in June.
Yeah, on the Ides of March.
Well, yeah, not quite the Ides of March. Richard Feynman was a famous bongo player. Joel Sweeney invented the 5-string banjo. Joel Sweeney? There's a relation of Graham Sweeney's. Great show, well done, and great to have you back. Julia Chris Exley is saying, yeah, we got through this one in, an hour and 16 minutes. So that's
pretty good.
That was pretty good. It is now here in San Francisco, 16 minutes after 2, 14:16 in San Francisco. We just, again, want to thank these people who let us have video and audio and images for today's show. 600 shows, only 4 were some Crutonic. Yeah, well, probably most of our Crutonic. We try to make them all as good as possible, and without all of you, we couldn't do it. We wouldn't do it. I mean, we do it for our friends and family and Fozy, and that's what's fun, right, Julia?
Yes, and as I say, I learned stuff every time we show.
Well, indeed, and as Joe Holtzman says, perfect timing. It's an hour and 15, 16 minutes rather than a 2-hour show. Mm-hmm. Quite the milestone. See you all for Irish coffee on Friday. Yep, we'll prepare Irish coffees. Somehow I thought it was Saturday, so it's Friday is obviously, because that's the 17th, of course. Is that like the 5-string bass guitar, a complete waste of a string? Well, it depends, Steve. Ask Jonathan Frank, who's a bass player. Sometimes that 5th string comes in handy, and the sun is coming out near the Beach Street Yacht Club. Yeah, there's a bit of sun outside. Okay, Julia, 600 is in the can, so to speak.
Yeah, here we go.
Here we go to another, not 600. We're not going to do another 600. It's too much work. Maybe we'll cut back to once a week or something. I don't know.
Yeah, but then we'll be frustrated because there's
shows would probably be better if we'd put some Irish whiskey in the coffees every show, not just this coming Friday. Thanks again, everybody. Hope to see you this Friday. We'll have some Irish whiskey. And in the meantime, sail fast, sail safe, and have fun. Ciao for now.